Most men over 60 have the same problem without knowing it. Not the wrong clothes, not the wrong colors, the wrong silhouette. The outfit that reads as soft, heavy, and undefined, not because the man is, but because 5 specific things are removing the definition that would otherwise be there. 5 things that add visual softness. 5 specific alternatives that restore it. The most immediately visible of all 5 is the last one. Do not skip ahead. Definition in men's style after 60 is not about being slim or athletic. It is about the silhouette communicating a clear shape, a shoulder that is visible, a waist that has some indication, a vertical line that runs unbroken from the collar to the base. These 5 things are not about changing the body. They are about changing what the clothes communicate about the body. Each one is a specific, visible, immediate change. Each one can be applied this week. Together, they produce a silhouette that is more defined, more present, and more authoritative than the alternative at any price point. On this channel, classic menswear for men over 60 who want to look sharp without overcomplicating it. No trends, just what works. In this video, 5 things that make men over 60 look more defined. What each one does to the silhouette, why each one works, and exactly how to apply it starting today. The first thing that makes men over 60 look more defined: the monochromatic foundation. Jacket, trouser, and shoe in the same tonal family, navy, charcoal, or camel, without a strongly contrasting break between them. Here is what the monochromatic foundation does to the silhouette. When the jacket, trouser, and shoe exist in the same tonal family, the eye reads the outfit as one continuous vertical rather than 3 separate horizontal zones. Now here is the part nobody talks about. The monochromatic foundation works most powerfully after 60 because silver hair provides the one natural contrast point the combination needs at the top, where it draws the eye upward to the face. Dark monochromatic below, silver above. And this is where most men get it completely wrong. They break the monochromatic foundation with a contrasting shoe, the tan loafer beneath navy trousers, because the contrasting shoe seems like a natural coordination. The monochromatic foundation in practice: full navy, navy jacket, dark navy trouser, deep indigo or navy leather shoe; full charcoal, charcoal blazer, dark charcoal trouser, dark gray shoe; full camel, camel fine knit, stone trouser, tan leather shoe. All 3 producing one unbroken vertical. Takeaway: the monochromatic foundation, jacket, trouser, and shoe in the same tonal family creates the unbroken vertical that makes the silhouette more defined. Silver hair provides the one natural contrast point at the top. No contrasting shoe breaking the line at the ankle. And once the monochromatic foundation is established, the second thing addresses the horizontal break that most men over 60 are creating without realizing it, at the most visible point in the outfit. The second thing addresses the horizontal break most men create without realizing it at the most visible point in the outfit. The break that removes definition before anyone reaches the shoe. Thing 2. Horizontal break. Most visible point. Removing definition before the shoe. The second thing that makes men over 60 look more defined: the fitted shirt, no excess at the waist. The shirt that follows the natural frame of the body rather than hanging away from it. 2 inches of ease through the torso, not 4, not 6. Here is what excess fabric at the waist removes. When a shirt hangs loose through the body, 4 to 6 inches of excess fabric between the shirt and the torso, the waist disappears entirely. Now here is the part nobody talks about. The fitted shirt does not need to be slim-cut or fashion-forward to produce the waist indication. And this is where most men get it completely wrong. They buy shirts in sizes that provide comfort through the torso without checking how much excess fabric that comfort is introducing. The waist indication check. Stand in the shirt and pinch the fabric at the sides of the torso at the natural waist. The amount of excess fabric between the fingers and the shirt body, 2 inches is correct. 4 inches or more is too much. Takeaway. The fitted shirt with 2 inches of ease at the waist reintroduces the waist indication that excess fabric removes. Not slim cut, not fashion forward. Simply correct 2 inches of ease. The body shape subtly visible beneath the fabric, the silhouette reading as shaped rather than rectangular. And once the waist indication restores some shape to the silhouette, the third thing is the one that most directly determines how defined the shoulder appears, and therefore how defined the entire silhouette reads. The third thing most directly determines how defined the shoulder appears, and therefore how defined the entire silhouette reads. The shoulder is the widest point. The widest point defines everything below it. Thing 3. The shoulder. The widest point, defining everything below. The third thing that makes men over 60 look more defined. The shoulder seam at the natural edge. The seam sitting exactly where the shoulder ends and the upper arm begins, not drooping down the upper arm, not pulling tight across the back. Here is what the drooping shoulder seam removes from the silhouette. When the shoulder seam falls below the natural edge, even by ½ an inch, the shoulder appears narrower than it is. The arm appears longer. Now here is the part nobody talks about. The shoulder seam is the one fit element that cannot be corrected by tailoring after purchase. Moving the shoulder seam is a major alteration that costs more than most jackets are worth, and this is where most men get it completely wrong. They assess the jacket by how it feels through the chest and body, the elements that can be tailored, without checking the shoulder seam first. The shoulder seam check. Try the jacket. Stand straight. Look at the shoulder seam position in the mirror. The seam should sit at the break between the shoulder and the upper arm. If it droops below that break, the jacket is too large. Takeaway. The shoulder seam at the natural edge creates the broadest, most defined shoulder impression available. Confirmed at purchase, not at the tailor. The non-negotiable check before any other fit element is assessed. The shoulder seam at the correct position, the foundation of the defined silhouette. And once the shoulder establishes the widest defined point in the silhouette, the fourth thing is the one at the base, the specific detail that either extends or interrupts the defined vertical line at the ankle. The fourth thing is at the base, the specific detail that either extends the defined vertical or interrupts it at the ankle, and that most men over 60 have never specifically chosen. Thing 4. At the base, extending or interrupting the vertical at the ankle. The fourth thing that makes men over 60 look more defined. The clean trouser break. One fold of fabric at the top of the shoe, the trouser touching the shoe and breaking once, cleanly, not stacking in multiple folds that pool at the ankle. Not floating above the shoe with a visible gap of sock. Here is what the wrong trouser break does to the definition. The trouser that stacks in multiple folds at the ankle adds visual bulk at the base and shortens the visual line of the leg, the opposite of definition. Now here is the part nobody talks about. The clean trouser break requires the trouser to be hemmed to the specific shoe it will be worn with, not to an average length, not to a factory standard, but to the specific shoe. And this is where most men get it completely wrong. They wear the factory hem, almost always 1 to 2 inches too long, because the tailoring appointment feels like a minor detail. The trouser hem is not a minor detail. The clean break for the 3 most common shoe types. Leather Oxford or Derby, 1 clean break, the trouser touching the toe box once. Leather loafer, the same, slightly higher given the lower loafer profile. Takeaway. The clean trouser break, 1 fold at the top of the specific shoe, hemmed by a tailor for $10 to $15, extends the defined vertical from the trouser to the base. the most visible fit element at the base of any outfit, not stacking, not floating. One clean break, the vertical line complete. And once the vertical line is extended cleanly to the base, the fifth thing is the one that makes the entire defined silhouette visible from the furthest distance before the fit, the color, or the break at the ankle is close enough to read. The last thing makes the entire defined silhouette visible from the furthest distance before the fit, the color, or the trouser break is close enough to read. Thing 5. Visible from the furthest distance before anything else is close enough to read. The fifth thing that makes men over 60 look more defined, shoulders back and down, chin level. The physical posture decision that activates every element of the defined silhouette simultaneously. The shoulder seam reads as broadest when the shoulders are back and the chest is open. Here is what incorrect posture does to the defined silhouette. Shoulders slightly forward, the shoulder seam that is correctly placed appears to droop because the shoulder is no longer at its full width. The chest compresses, the torso shortens. Now here is the part nobody talks about. The shoulders back, chin level posture decision is not about strength or effort. It is about releasing the shoulders from the slightly forward, slightly raised position they default to when a man is not paying attention. And this is where most men get it completely wrong. They assemble the 4 previous things correctly: the monochromatic foundation, the fitted shirt, the correct shoulder seam, the clean trouser break, and then walk into the room with shoulders slightly forward and chin slightly down. The posture activation habit. Before every entrance, 3 seconds at the mirror, shoulders released downward, chin level to horizontal, chest open. The defined silhouette now presented rather than hidden, the monochromatic vertical visible from across the room. Picture this. A man over 60 applies all 5 things and walks into a room, deep navy from shoulder to shoe, the monochromatic vertical unbroken, the fitted shirt with the waist indication subtle but present, the shoulder seam at the natural edge, the jacket filling the shoulder completely. Takeaway. Shoulders back and down, chin level, the posture release that activates every previous thing simultaneously. Not effort, release. 3 seconds at the mirror before every entrance. The monochromatic vertical presented at its longest, the shoulder seam at its broadest. And once all 5 things are understood, the compound visual result of applying all 5 simultaneously and why it works specifically after 60 becomes clear. Here is what all 5 things look like working together. Monochromatic foundation, the unbroken vertical from silver hair to shoe. Fitted shirt, the waist indication restoring shape to the silhouette. Shoulder seam at the natural edge, the broadest possible shoulder impression. Why this works specifically after 60. Now here is the part nobody talks about. These 5 things do not add definition that was not there. They remove the 5 specific things that were hiding it. The excess fabric at the waist was hiding the waist indication. The contrasting shoe was creating the horizontal break. The 1 week implementation. Today the monochromatic combination confirmed from the existing wardrobe. Today the fitted shirt pinch test. 2 inches of ease confirmed or the tailor appointment made. This week every jacket tried on with the shoulder seam check confirmed. The compound visual effect. Monochromatic vertical presenting the silhouette as one continuous line. Waist indication adding the suggestion of shape. Broad shoulder adding the widest impression at the top. Clean trouser break extending the line to the base. The cost. Monochromatic foundation. $0 using pieces already owned. Fitted shirt, $20 at the tailor for the shirt currently owned. Shoulder seam at the natural edge, $0 if already correct. The next jacket purchase confirmed at the shoulder. Takeaway, 5 things. Monochromatic foundation. Fitted shirt with waist indication, shoulder seam at the natural edge. Clean trouser break. shoulders back, chin level. Together they remove the 5 things that were hiding the definition and present the silhouette that was always there. Here is the final truth about looking more defined after 60. The definition is not something to create, it is something to reveal by removing the 5 specific things that were hiding it. The monochromatic foundation reveals the vertical, the fitted shirt reveals the waist, not a different body, the same body, presented in clothes that communicate its shape rather than hiding it. Not a different age, the same age, with the additional authority of a man whose physical presence is fully communicated by every element of his appearance simultaneously. Which of these 5 things are you applying first? Drop it in the comments. The one that produces the most immediately visible definition improvement, the one most men cannot believe they were not doing already, is almost always the last one. Shoulders back, chin level. What was yours? Subscribe for straight, practical style advice for men who value confidence over trends. Next video, 5 things that make men over 60 look more distinguished.